Since the moment humans first picked up tools, there's always been a drive to push boundaries, to build something stronger, stranger, or more capable than what came before. In the modern firearms world, that drive doesn't always lead to practical or sensible designs. Sometimes it leads to bold experiments, niche engineering flexes, and guns that exist simply because someone had the skill and the nerve to make them real. This isn't about what you should buy or carry. It's about firearms that stand out because they challenge assumptions, rewrite expectations, and remind us that innovation doesn't always follow a straight line. Some of these designs solved problems, others created new ones, but all of them left a mark. Serbu GB-22 is the definition of extreme minimalism taken seriously, a single-shot .22 LR pistol designed by Mark Serbu as a deliberate statement rather than a traditional consumer product. From the moment you see it, the GB-22 makes its point clear because there's almost nothing there beyond what is mechanically necessary to fire a cartridge. The pistol consists of a short steel barrel permanently fixed to a rectangular steel block that houses the firing pin, with no conventional slide, no magazine, no extractor, and no safety beyond careful handling. Overall length is roughly 6 inches with a barrel just under 4 inches, and weight comes in at around 12 ounces depending on material choices, making it compact but not especially comfortable. Operation is manual and intentionally slow. You insert a single .22 LR round directly into the chamber, manually cock the striker, aim, fire, and then remove the spent casing by hand. There is no attempt to soften recoil, improve grip angle, or enhance shootability, because those elements would distract from the core idea. Accuracy is functional rather than impressive, limited more by the crude sighting arrangement and minimal grip surface than by the barrel itself. The GB-22's strengths are its simplicity, educational value, and philosophical impact, showing just how few components are required to make a working firearm and how basic the underlying technology truly is. Its weaknesses are obvious and unapologetic, including painfully slow reloads, poor ergonomics, no practical defensive or sporting role, an experience that feels more like a demonstration than a shooting session. What made the GB-22 famous was not range performance, but the decision to sell the design plans for a very low cost, turning it into a lightning rod for discussions about regulation, manufacturing, and the realities of firearm construction in the modern world. As a finished item, examples typically trade in the $200 to $300 range when available, but the real value has never been monetary. The Serbu GB-22 exists to provoke conversation, to strip the idea of a gun down to its mechanical skeleton, and to prove that even when everything non-essential is removed, the core function still remains. Beretta U22 Neos represents a sharp turn away from brutal minimalism and into a world where ergonomics, usability, and forward-thinking design take center stage. Designed by Beretta, the oldest continuously operating firearm manufacturer in the world, the Neos still looks futuristic years after its debut, with a space-age aesthetic that feels closer to industrial product design than traditional gunmaking. Beneath that bold exterior is a well-engineered rimfire pistol built around comfort and accuracy, making it especially well-suited for long-range sessions and new shooters alike. The polymer frame keeps weight low, while the steel barrel and internal components provide durability, with overall length typically landing around 9.5 inches, depending on barrel configuration, and weight hovering near 34 ounces unloaded. Barrel options commonly range from 4.5 to 6 inches, with the longer versions offering excellent balance and a noticeable improvement in sight radius. One of the Neos' most distinctive features is its integrated top rail, which allows optics to be mounted directly without adapters, a forward-looking choice that aged exceptionally well. Adjustable iron sights come standard, controls are fully ambidextrous, and the grip angle feels natural and relaxed, reducing fatigue during extended shooting. The 10-round magazine is easy to load, feeds reliably, and sits flush with the grip for clean lines and consistent handling. On the range, the Neos is known for soft recoil, excellent inherent accuracy, and dependable cycling with a wide range of .22 LR ammunition, making it forgiving for beginners but still enjoyable for experienced shooters. Its strengths include comfort, accuracy, optics readiness, and a design that stands out without sacrificing function, while its drawbacks are mostly tied to availability since it is no longer in production and replacement parts can take some effort to source. Even so, the pistol maintains a loyal following on the used market, where prices today typically fall between the mid-200s and mid-300s depending on barrel length and overall condition. The Beretta U22 Neos remains a reminder that bold design and practical performance can coexist, delivering a rimfire pistol that looks unconventional but shoots with confidence and precision. Arsenal Firearms AF 2011. And one exists almost entirely as an engineering statement, a pistol created not to solve a practical problem, but to prove that something outrageous can be made real and function reliably. Built in Italy by Arsenal Firearms, the AF 2011 A1 takes the already iconic 1911 platform and doubles it in the most literal way possible, resulting in a true double-barreled semi-automatic handgun with 2 barrels, 2 slides, twin magazines, and a linked dual trigger system that fires 2.45 ACP rounds simultaneously with every pull. The frame is massively widened to accommodate the paired internals, giving the pistol an unmistakable profile and a grip that feels more like holding 2 guns fused into one. Overall length is roughly 8.5 inches with dual 5-inch barrels, while weight comes in at well over 4.5 pounds unloaded, making it one of the heaviest handguns ever built. Recoil is substantial but surprisingly manageable thanks to the combined mass and synchronized slide movement, although follow-up shots are slow and deliberate by nature. Accuracy was never the primary goal, as the pistol is designed to deliver overwhelming impact at close range rather than precision at distance, and the pair barrels are regulated more for spectacle than tight grouping. The craftsmanship is undeniable, with high-quality steel construction, hand-fitted components, and finishes that range from classic blued steel to mirror-polished or gold-accented collector variants. Its strengths lie in exclusivity, mechanical audacity, and visual impact, while its drawbacks are equally obvious, including extreme weight, limited practicality, expensive ammunition consumption, and an ergonomics profile that prioritizes concept over comfort. This is a firearm meant to be owned, displayed, and talked about as much as it is fired, and most examples see far more time in safes than on the range. That exclusivity is reflected clearly in pricing, with current market values commonly landing between $6,000 and $8,000 depending on configuration, finish, and condition, and some rare variants commanding even more. The AF 2011 A1 is not practical and never pretended to be, but as a piece of functional mechanical art, it stands as one of the most unforgettable pistols ever created. Cobray Pocket Pal, sometimes marked under the Linad name, is a strange little artifact from the 1980s that perfectly captures a period when firearm designers were far more willing to experiment with unconventional ideas. Built as an ultra-compact revolver, the Pocket Pal was centered around its most unusual feature: interchangeable cylinders that allowed the same gun to fire either .22 LR or .380 ACP, depending on configuration. A concept that sounds clever on paper, but feels awkward in practice. Overall length is roughly 5.5 inches with a very short barrel, just over 2 inches, and unloaded weight sits around 18 to 20 ounces depending on materials, giving it a dense, chunky feel despite its small size. The revolver operates in double action only with an extremely heavy trigger pull that was intended as a safety feature, but ends up being one of its biggest drawbacks, making accurate shooting difficult even at close range. Reloading is slow and clumsy by modern standards since the cylinder must be manually removed and swapped, and there is no ejector system to speed things up, reinforcing that this was never meant to compete with serious defensive revolvers. Ergonomics are crude, with a short grip that barely accommodates the hand, minimal sights that are more symbolic than functional, and recoil that feels sharp in the .380 ACP configuration due to the light frame and tiny grip. Its strengths lie almost entirely in novelty and compact versatility, offering a single platform that could fire two very different cartridges at a time when such modularity was rare. Its weaknesses are numerous and obvious, including poor shootability, slow handling, heavy trigger pull, and limited practical application compared to even basic revolvers of the same era. Reliability tends to be acceptable when the gun is clean and used with appropriate ammunition, but the design was never refined enough to inspire long-term confidence. Today, the Cobray Pocket Pal is viewed primarily as a curiosity rather than a serious shooter, a conversation piece that represents a forgotten design philosophy. On the current market, prices generally sit in the mid-200s to a few $100s, with higher values attached to complete examples that include both cylinders and original accessories. The Pocket Pal is not remembered for excellence or performance, but as a snapshot of a time when manufacturers were willing to chase odd ideas simply because no one else had tried them yet. MBA Gyrojet Pistol is one of the purest expressions of retro futurism ever attempted in small arms, a design from the 1960s that genuinely tried to leap past conventional ammunition entirely. Instead of firing traditional bullets, the Gyrojet launched tiny rocket projectiles that ignited after leaving the barrel, accelerating in flight rather than reaching peak velocity at the muzzle. This allowed the pistol itself to be remarkably light and simple, with no need for a heavy slide, locking system, or recoil-absorbing mass. Most Gyrojet pistols measure roughly 13 inches in overall length, with a smoothbore barrel around 6 inches long. An unloaded weight typically sits under 2 pounds, making them feel almost toy-like compared to steel-framed pistols of the era. Recoil is minimal because there is no traditional pressure spike, and muzzle blast is surprisingly soft, reinforcing the idea that this was a technology meant to redefine how handguns worked. The rocket stabilized through angled exhaust ports rather than rifling, an elegant concept that looks brilliant on a cutaway diagram. On paper, engineers believed this system would offer higher terminal performance at distance, reduced recoil, and simplified manufacturing. In practice, the drawbacks quickly became obvious. Early projectiles suffered from inconsistent ignition. Accuracy was poor at close range where velocity was lowest, and manufacturing tolerances for the rockets were expensive and difficult to maintain. Reliability varied wildly depending on ammunition quality, and real-world performance never matched the promise. As costs climbed and regulatory pressure increased, the concept quietly collapsed before it could mature. The strengths of the Gyrojet lie in its originality, lightweight construction, and historical significance, while its weaknesses include inconsistent accuracy, limited effectiveness at short range, extreme ammunition scarcity, and zero practical use today. Modern examples are never bought as shooters, but as artifacts from a moment when engineers truly believed rocket-based small arms were the future. On today's collector market, Gyrojet pistols commonly sell for several $1,000s, often $4,000 or more depending on condition and originality, while individual rounds of ammunition regularly command well over $100 each due to rarity. The MBA Gyrojet survives not as a failed weapon, but as a bold experiment frozen in time, a reminder that innovation sometimes overshoots reality but still leaves behind something unforgettable. Desert Tech Trek 22 takes the legendary Ruger 1022 and reshapes it into something that feels genuinely modern, while keeping everything that made the original so dependable. Rather than being a complete firearm, the Trek 22 is a bullpup stock kit that relocates the action rearward, dramatically shortening overall length while preserving the standard 1022 barrel and operating system. With a typical 16-inch barrel installed, overall length drops to roughly 26 inches, making it shorter than many SBRs while remaining legally compliant. An unloaded weight usually lands around 3.5 to 4 pounds depending on configuration. That compact footprint completely changes the handling, shifting the balance closer to the shooter's shoulder and making the rifle feel quick, lively, and easy to maneuver in tight spaces. The bullpup layout places the magazine behind the grip, and Desert Tech engineered a linkage system that preserves a consistent trigger pull, which, while not match grade, is more than acceptable for a rimfire platform designed for fun and practical shooting. Ergonomics are clean and modern, with an integrated top rail for optics, ambidextrous sling mounting options, and a design that naturally supports suppressor use thanks to the short overall length and excellent balance with a kin attached. Reliability remains pure Ruger 10-22, meaning it runs happily on a wide range of .22 LR ammunition and benefits from one of the largest aftermarket ecosystems in the firearms world. The strengths of the Trek 22 are obvious: compact size, improved handling, suppressor friendliness, and the ability to transform an existing rifle without sacrificing proven reliability. The downsides are mostly subjective, including the bullpup trigger feel, rearward magazine changes that take some adjustment, and the fact that it is a conversion kit rather than a complete rifle. As a range toy, training rifle, or suppressed plinker, it excels by offering something different without being gimmicky. Pricing for the Trek 22 kit typically sits around $300, with real-world street prices often slightly under that, depending on availability. For Ruger 10-22 owners who want a fresh experience without abandoning a trusted platform, the Desert Tech Trek 22 delivers a compact, fast-handling rimfire that feels like a genuine evolution rather than a novelty. Serbu RN-50 closes out the list as a rifle that fundamentally reshaped expectations around .50 BMG ownership by proving that extreme power does not automatically require extreme complexity or unreachable pricing. Designed by Mark Serbu, the RN-50 takes a brutally straightforward approach to the .50 BMG problem, using a single-shot configuration built around an exceptionally strong threaded breech cap system rather than a traditional bolt action. The result is a rifle that prioritizes strength, safety, and consistency while stripping away anything that does not directly contribute to launching a half-inch projectile accurately downrange. Overall length is approximately 37 inches with a massive 29-inch barrel, and unloaded weight comes in around 22 pounds, which is substantial but manageable for a rifle in this class and plays a major role in recoil control. Operation is slow and deliberate by design, with each round manually inserted into the chamber and sealed by the rear breech cap, creating a firing system that is incredibly robust and surprisingly precise. The barrel is heavy and rigid, contributing to consistent accuracy potential well beyond what most people expect from a single-shot platform, and recoil is firm but linear, helped by the rifle's weight and effective muzzle brake. Ergonomics are intentionally basic, with a simple stock design, straightforward controls, and no pretense of being tactical or refined, but everything fits the role it is meant to fill. The strengths of the RN-50 are obvious and unapologetic, including extreme durability, mechanical simplicity, strong accuracy potential, and a design that is easy to maintain and inspect. Its weaknesses are equally clear, such as slow reloads, single-shot limitations, and the physical demands that come with firing .50 BMG in any form. Despite those trade-offs, the rifle succeeded because it focused on accessibility rather than luxury, opening the door for shooters who previously viewed .50 caliber rifles as unattainable curiosities. While early online discussions often repeat outdated pricing, current factory prices generally sit around the mid-1600s for standard configurations, with optional upgrades pushing the cost higher, but still well below most magazine-fed .50 BMG rifles. Even today, the Serbu RN-50 remains one of the most approachable and honest ways to experience .50 BMG, a rifle that proves raw power and serious engineering do not have to be wrapped in excess to earn respect. What ties all of these firearms together isn't practicality or efficiency. It's the willingness to experiment. Each one exists because someone decided not to follow the safest path. They pushed boundaries, took risks, and sometimes built something purely to prove it could be done. And whether those designs succeeded or failed, they remind us that innovation in firearms doesn't come from playing it safe.